Hello, Woodland Clarinet players. Hope you're doing well, staying safe, and finding a lot of time to practice. We're just going to continue on with our lessons. So this is video lesson number 3, and we're just going to keep working on some new things. So this video is basically just going to be a bunch of different ways we can do some warm-ups, and then we're going to finish off the duet and the Good King playing test. So so what we're going to do first is we're going to make sure we get some good warm-ups going, and we're going to go through every note we've learned so far. So just a couple things. You got your feet firm on the floor. You're sitting up on the edge of your seat tall. Your shoulders are relaxed. And when you get your armature, you got your corners tight, your chin flat, and then your left hand is the one that goes on top, and then your right hand thumb, the thumbnail is facing upwards, and it's right under that rest. Remember, you don't want it awkwardly like that on your knuckle. You want it on the thumbnail. And then these fingers are just hovering above these keys. Remember, you don't want to keep them up here. You want to keep them hovering so they're ready to play when we need them. But right now, the notes we have are in the top, just the left hand. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the notes we learned so far. We're going to start with our open G, which is no fingers at all. So it's all open. Then we're going to go to F, which is just our thumb. E, which is thumb and first finger. D, which is thumb, first finger, second finger. And C, which is thumb 1, 2, and 3. Now again, we want to use the pads of our finger. So if I push, you could see there's like, oh, can you really tell? There's like a little hole. So again, I'm not like halfway covering the hole. I'm using the nice juicy pad part of my finger to cover up that hole. Here, this one you could probably see if I push hard enough. Yeah, you can see how it's right in the center of my finger. So, we want to make sure that covers the hole all the way. If we don't, our sound's not going to be good. So, just that we went through that clarification, I'm glad we did. We're going to do our long tones. So now, but before we do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the metronome. So again, what I have here is I have the backing book, the access code that's in the back of the book with the backing tracks, and I have it on page 9. A couple cool things about this, you see the little yellow star. What I want you to do is I want you to click on those, and they give you little information about each song that we're learning. So it doesn't take long to read. It's like a minute, not even. But it's really important and it's really interesting. So I want you guys to look at that. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go to our metronome. So if you see right here, there's a little tuning fork and a metronome. We want to click on that, and that'll bring up our metronome. Now you can also use metronomes on your phone. Like there's a ton of free ones on the App Store and the Play Store. So if you want to use that, that's cool too. But this one is the one with the access code. So you bring this up, and then you can see it says metronome. And it also has a tuner. You can hear it's picking up my voice. Metronome right here. And now I think the original tempo is 120. We're going to set it to 60. So you just double click on the number and then type in 60. So for the video right now, we'll just use my metronome. But when you practice, make sure you're using a metronome. This is very important that we start using a metronome to develop a steady tempo and get those rhythms. Remember, rhythm is the most important part. If you play a wrong note, it's not as bad as playing a wrong rhythm. Playing a wrong rhythm is way worse. So make sure you get your rhythms. That's the most important part. All right. So I'm going to set my metronome. Set it to the loudest setting so we can hear it when you play. It's kind of quiet, but we're just going to use this one right now. So here we go. We're going to start with our long tones. G, open G. Here we go. Corners tight, chin flat. 1, 2, cool, fast, air. 2, next note, F. right, how'd you do? So did you remember to tap your toe with every click? That helps you count and know exactly where you are. So we got to know if we're on beat 3 of the measure, that's where we are. We got to know that. So always count. Counting in rhythm. You got this. All right, we're going to go work our way up from G, or from C, working up to G. So we got C to D to E to F to G. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, cool, fast air. All right, remember, if you squeak, you're biting too much. So I got to remember myself to pull my chin towards the floor. With my teeth barely covered by my lip, corners tight, chin nice and flat. All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to, what I want you to do is I want you to pause it and do that warm-up one more time. It's a great warm-up, and it really helps you develop a great sound establishing those long tones. So go ahead and do that. All right. Next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to learn a new note today. So the new note we're going to cover is the note A. So with that, what we're going to do is we have G. So remember, G is all open. Now when we play A, we're going to use our first finger to just roll up and open up this key right here. So it's just this one little key right here, and you just roll up and you open that key. And what it'll do is it opens up these two pads right there. So the one right above it, and then this little guy next to it. So that's our A. So it'll sound like this. So go ahead, get your A and hold it out. Let's hold it out together. Ready? Ready, cool, fast it. Now remember, you want to blow air through your instrument, not into it, through it. So we're using our cool, fast air to blow air through it. Pretend there's a birthday candle at the end on the floor. You're trying to blow it out. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to start adding that A to our long tones. So starting next week, we'll start doing that. Now, in the book, if you look, there are little blue arrows like by number 15, and it says Rhythm Study, page 44. And there's another blue arrow by number 9, it says Rhythm Study. So we're going to actually do that. We're going to go to page 44 in our book, and this has a bunch of great rhythm reviews. So it's kind of like the rhythm reviews we've done before. So our page is going to look like this. It's got a bunch of different rhythms. Yeah. So we're going to go to 44. Now, if you notice something, they're just rhythms on a single line. So it's not on a staff where it tells us, with a treble clef, where it tells us which note. So it's just on a single line. So that tells us we can pick whatever note we want to do. So this is great exercise to establish your good sound and a good tongue, a good embouchure. So we're gonna let's just pick the note A. So this is our first note, or this is our new note we're gonna learn, A. So again, we're leaving our thumb off. We just roll our first finger onto that key right there. So again, I'm gonna set up my metronome. We're gonna do number 1 on the note A. So remember to tongue each note. Keep your toe tapping. Use that cool, fast air. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. how'd you do? So, did you remember, whole notes get 4 counts, 4 clicks for one whole note. And then we have a whole rest. That is also 4 counts. So, we got to keep our air moving. Now also, if you need to breathe in between those notes, that's okay. So, sneak a breath in there. But we want to try and start getting it to where we can hold our breath all the way through. So, if you heard, I held my breath, and that my tongue just kind of interrupted my air. My air did not stop at all. So work your way to get that air control. All right, we're going to move on to number 2 now. And we're going to pick a new note. So let's do the note. Let's do the note E. So we have our thumb and our first finger. So this is number 2. Now this has half notes. So remember, half notes get 2 counts. So here we go. Number 2 on the note E. Ready? Let's get our note established. So that's what it'll sound like. Here we go. 1, 2, number 2 rhythm study. So remember, there is now a repeat sign on that. So we got to make sure we repeat it. So we got to start using those repeat signs too. Remember, that's a double bar with 2 dots right in front of it. All right, let's move on. So you can see number 3 uses the half rest. So remember, a half rest when it's above the line gets 2 counts. And number 4, same thing. Number 5, whole note, half notes, and then quarter notes. Let's go on to number 6. So, again, we're going to just pick a random note, and I'm actually going to speed up my metronome. So again, if you're not ready to speed it up, work your way up. Remember, baby steps. So, this is 80. I put the metronome on to 80. We're going to do number 6, and let's do it on the note C. So C, we have our thumb down, first, second, and third finger. Let's hold out our note, make sure we got it established, sitting up tall, relaxed. So that's C. Here we go. Number 6. Let's do number 6. 1, 2, make sure you tongue. All right, so how'd you do? Did you make sure you kept your air moving really quick? Cool, fast air. All right, let's jump ahead. Let's try number 12. That one looks a little tricky. And let's do it on open G. So let's do it on open G. So no fingers at all. You just got your thumb with your thumbnail supporting it. Here we go. Open G, number 12. 1, 2, make sure you tongue. All right, how'd you do? So did you remember to sneak breaths in? Now, rhythm reviews aren't really musical phrases, musical sentences, so wherever you got to sneak a breath, try to do it. If you can, though, try to make it all the way to the end without sneaking in a breath. So when you're doing your rests, you just stop your air. You don't need to sneak, you don't need to like, do, you know what I mean? You don't need to keep breathing, otherwise you'll store up too much air, actually. So you just do. So you just kind of stop your air, just kind of hold it in place. All right. So in our book, we have all the rhythms up to rhythm 17. So as a warm-up, just pick random rhythms, do like maybe 3 or 4 a day, Not the same ones, just pick different ones. Pick ones that are harder so you can start really focusing on that and getting those rhythms locked into your memory. Remember, the more you practice, the easier it's going to be. So practice the harder ones so they lock into your memory more. And remember, make sure you do it with a metronome. That's super important because if you don't, you might be counting not in time, like your rhythms might be off. So you got to have that click going. All right, we're gonna actually go back to page 9 now. So we're on page 9, and we are going to go ahead and try that duet. So you should have been working on the duet this week. So that was number 26. Now again, you're gonna be the A line, and I'll be the B line. So I'm gonna count you in. I'll give you a head cue, and then that's when you'll start. And you'll start on your C. So this is your first note. Here we go. So ready? Make sure you got that. So I'm going to set the metronome to 80. All right, here you go. Here's our first duet. You're the A line, I'm the B line. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and go. All right, so how'd you do? Did you have fun? I bet it'd be more fun in person, but we're doing what we can. So remember to sneak in your breaths too. This we actually have to phrase now because this is a musical piece. This is duet. So think about your musical sentences and where you're breathing. So remember those little apostrophes. Those are breath marks. So make sure you sneak in your breaths in the correct spots. You don't want to pause in the middle of a sentence. You know what I mean? You want to breathe in the correct spot. All right, we're going to do number 27 now. And this one we're going to finger through and say the note names. And then we're going to play it together. So this is number 27. I'm going to set their metronome. This is still on 80. And we're going to finger through and say the note names before we add our air and our embouchure. So remember, we got to start memorizing which notes are which on the staff. So for treble clef, for treble clef, we have F, A, C, E in the spaces, and on the lines, we have E, G, B, D, and F. So we got to start memorizing those line notes and those space notes. Now also remember, we also learned D, which is the note right below the staff. And we also learned C, which is what's called that ledger line, the first ledger line below the staff. So we got to start memorizing these notes. But once we got them memorized, they'll never change. Treble clef F is always that first space. All right, here we go. So I'm going to set the metronome. It's on 80. And we're going to finger through and say, sing and say the note name. So that's our first note. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. F, 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 G, F, F, C, D, C, D, E, F, rest. F, 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 G, F, F, C, D, C, D, E, F, rest. F, rest. F, 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 G, F, F, C, D, C, D, E, F, rest. F, rest. F, 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 G, F, F, C, D, C, D, E, F, rest. F, rest. Sorry, I thought that was an F for some reason. Ugh, my fault. So, that's why we do this. We finger along and say the note name so we make sure we got it. You know, if I'm also thinking about my air and my embouchure and I see that, I don't want to panic and wonder which note is next. So, D, starting on measure 7, that's D. Now remember, you got to repeat also, so take that repeat all the way back. And then also think about your phrase, measure 3 and measure 4. That rest necessarily isn't the end of the phrase. So the end of the phrase would be that second number, or that second F on beat 3. So you just stop your air, and then tongue that F again, and then you sneak in a breath. So think about those phrases. All right, here we go. We're going to try it together. So holding out your first note. All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. All right, so how'd you do? If you want to, go ahead and record yourself playing that and send it to either the Google account or my email. I'll gladly review it and give you some feedback. But yeah, so just keep practicing along. Now remember, these notes should connect. You don't want to cut them short. Do not do. You got to connect them. So just a quick short tongue. Two, 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 two. All right, so this week, what I want you to do is I want you to practice these warm-ups, practice your long tones, practice using that new note A, practice with the metronome. Now, this is important that we always are practicing with the metronome now. So make sure you get your metronome and set it up. So practice your long tones with your new note A, practice page 44 with those new rhythms with the metronome. And what I want you to do is now just go back and play your favorite pieces. Go ahead and play through and just try to get a really good sound. Another good thing is to record yourself and then re-listen to your recording and see, oh, this is how I actually sound versus how I think I sound. So that's really important. I've done that so many times as a musician to where I think I got a piece sounding really good and then I record myself and I'm like, oh, I got this to fix and I got this to fix. So you can always do that. But otherwise, just play through your favorite pieces and just have fun and think about getting a good sound. Think about a good embouchure, sitting up tall. And yeah, just keep going. And then next week, we'll start with page 10. So next week, we'll continue on with the book. So keep practicing. I hope you have fun, and I hope you guys stay safe. Bye, Woodland Clarinets. Take it easy, and hope to see you soon.